council sometime in October, we're guessing.
Right.
So with that, thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you much. We are rocking and rolling on the west side, and I have a couple of neighborhood-specific updates I want to share with you. One specifically is an example of when a subcontracting goes wrong. So I had a SWAT project in the south portion of Briar Meadow a year ago, but the sub subbed out work, which divided work, which, we don't get that information. So we've had to spend extra resources to fix sprinklers. They were parking on easements, damaged grass, just unnecessary things. And then, working with Public Works and the SWAT team is phenomenal. We found out because the sub divided their work. So I think there should be some consideration around that, because we fight so hard to make sure that MWBEs are in the queue, that they're able to do the work and scale up. But if they're subdividing the work, oftentimes this is what happens. And the notice to proceed only tells you who the prime is, right? So we have to, it's been a lot of back and forth. With all of that said, all of that's being mitigated within the next 10 days. So I'm happy to, but I wanted to raise that point because I'm sure if it's happening here, it's happening elsewhere. Bel Air West is finally receiving their speed bumps. This has been in the queue for a very long time, almost 2015. But with that, because of Public Works, we've identified some areas in the same neighborhood that they're going to receive a concrete street replacement. So that's in the queue this fiscal year. So we're doing those upgrades, which is, to me, it's public safety. They've been long neglected. I'm happy about that. And I just want to thank you for increasing SWAT, that funding the last cycle. It's been tremendous because in Ashton Village, on the other side of Dairy Ashford, the water would come to their door. Just poor drainage. This SWAT project is actually should be in 2 phases, but by request, I've said I need 1 project so we don't divide the neighborhood. So we're investing $5.6 million. We're going to increase their drains from 24 to 36 to 42, depending on the scale. They're excited about it. It's long awaited. It's in design. It's happening. Piney Point has their overlay and their speed bumps. They're done. So them people good. Okay, I don't need to get nothing else going on at Piney Point. They're good. But to the point about the sidewalks, which I think is really important, but for context, I have a neighborhood and I had a pop-up, Oak Harbor. They have 125 doors in that subdivision. And when we did an investigation of their sidewalks, that subdivision cost $2.2 million for 125 doors. And I have communities that have 850 doors. So and I don't have $2 million. So I had to negotiate $130,000, which splits the neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood doesn't get the same upgrades. Right. So as you look, as you earmark that money and as that come back to us, if there's a process for us to prioritize, your Office of People with Disabilities has been phenomenal, supplementing a lot of the ADA ramps and all of that. But there's some neighborhoods that need deep reconstruction. And if they can't do reconstruction, I think it's very fair to just fix the trip hazards, because, as long as we can get it flat. So if there's a way to mitigate cost on the CDSF side for council members, because for me, doing $250,000 each pop pushes the rest of my projects the next fiscal year. So if there's some way that we can collaborate on that process of prioritization, that would be tremendous.
And we're talking about on the sidewalk. On the
sidewalks, because I have one just in one street in Beckford Place. It's $225,000 just for her street, and I can't lift it. And so I have to start it, pay Public Works half, and then they got to get me on the back half.
Well, I will tell you what we are planning on doing, combined with what's already in the CIP.
Okay.
It will provide Public Works with way more than $10 million.
Okay.
What I was told is that they can only do about maybe $10 to $12 million a year. So with what we are planning to advance will give them more than enough for sidewalks, repair, and construction over a year's period.
But is there a way that we can influence how those are prioritized based on neighborhood, or are we going to go through the same process of them investigating and then saying?
Well, let's continue to work on that.
Sure.
But what I intend to do with your support and approval is provide more than sufficient funding for sidewalks over a year's period of time.
Okay, that would be tremendous. I would love to lift that off of my budget so I can do other things with infrastructure. if they're going to take those sidewalk projects, because, to do one street for $250,000, that taps me out, and I'm sure other colleagues. But we are rocking and rolling. Public Works has done a phenomenal job identifying priorities, which align with what the people have been saying for a very long time. So there's a lot of construction projects happening in District F, various sources of funding. So I just appreciate their patience as we have construction going on, and the support of the various departments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Alcorn. And let me just say, I love this conversation on sidewalks. Councilman Alcorn, and we sat down and talked about it, had some conversations.
Yeah.
And basically what I said is that if the budget works out right, then we will look at doing a significant infusion. And so,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Mayor, yesterday, Jordan said, I think it's time to ask the mayor about the sidewalks. And then you came with that announcement today. So that's great news. And to my colleague's point, I mean, this is an expensive business, and we definitely need even a lot more. But I was in the meeting with Public Works and Veronica Davis, and then they literally don't have the staff or capacity to do more than about $10 million a year. So something we can work on later. But really, really grateful for that, Mayor. It's in every neighborhood meeting I go to.